Well, if I speak with you all separately.
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
take the big office in there if you want.
Oh, perfect. I'm gonna start with you, Mr. Stone, if that's all right.
Okay,
It's gonna
that
be a
works with me.
third suspect wearing all white with a Santa hat.
You want the
Gonna
big
turn off
chair?
my radio. No, no, I prefer to stand.
Okay.
I mean, 2 seconds. Um, Alright, I hope you'll forgive me, sir. If I seem like I'm not paying attention or I'm not talking, it's because I'm taking notes.
All good.
Oh.
What speed would you like me to speak for it? Because I know some officers want me to talk slowly.
If I need you to repeat something, I'll just ask for it.
Okay.
If you could start off with a quick rundown of the events from last night.
From where they, you know, from where they pulled us over the side, or from when we first saw.
From when you first, I think you mentioned something about pizza this. Let's start from
Yeah.
there.
So we went to Pizza This to get some food, some drinks.
Can you,
After dealing with a
I
bunch.
don't mean to interrupt. Who is we?
Me, Amethyst, and Lumi. We headed to Pizza This to get some food, some water. We ended up getting a couple pizzas and some E-colas, I believe. Yeah. Then, as we were leaving, Kane Doolittle approached our car, or specifically Amy, asking if she was somebody named Mira. Where Amy had then said, or Amethyst had then said that no, it's Amethyst.
If she was
Uh,
who?
Somebody named Mira.
Mira.
Yeah, there was another lady that was right next to her. Or when I'm gonna go back a little bit. So basically, we came out. Kane and a lady that I don't remember her name. I'm not the best with names sometimes. Um, Basically, Kane came up, asked if she was Mira. She said no, it's Amy. And then the other lady had said, "See, I told you it wasn't Amy, or I told you it was Amy," which was weird because I kind of dismissed it at the time. Uh, Kane then asked her to talk off to the side. They talked for a second. Um, he then stepped off to talk on the phone. Um, when he did, I asked Amy if I could, or if we could head up to the prison, as we were having I believe it was straight up a sentencing, yeah, for Coco Diaz. So we started heading to the prison. Uh, Lumi was the driver. I was in the back. Amy was in the passenger seat. As we were driving up there, we were doing a U-turn to head back to the courthouse because I had forgot to stop and talk and grab one of the officers that we would need to resentence. Um, as we were making the U-turn, uh, one of their cars, I believe it was the more beige or chrome one, had pinned itself underneath our TRX, right in between uh, the front right wheel and the back right wheel. They sort of pinned themselves in right there. Um, then they
Did that
hopped
come
out
out
with
of the
guns.
blue, or did you notice anybody following you, or?
We noticed as we went, or I noticed as we went to make the U-turn. Like I noticed them pulling up with the red lights. Uh, Speaking of, as we were heading down there, I was on the phone with Jensen, which is why officers were called in the first place. Um, I was on the phone with Jensen because I was going to ask him to be the one if he wanted to sentence. While we were on the phone, we were then pinned. I had then said to Jensen, "Oh, there's people wearing red. They've got guns," and then said the closest location so that he would be able to at least know where we're at. I
Okay,
then
what
hung
kind
up.
of guns did they have?
It looked like, God, what is that one called? It's a machine pistol. I know that. It's an automatic rifle, is what Kane had. Like an automatic handgun, not rifle. The other man, I think, had a combat pistol. Ray, I believe it was.
Okay, and which one? Kane had the machine pistol?
Yeah, I believe Kane.
And how were you able to identify either Kane Doolittle or Ray Michaels?
Kane, because we were talking to him beforehand at Pizza This, I had said, "Hey, Kane," and he had responded. We were talking about his outfit because he kind of looked like, if you're familiar with the Hitman games, he kind of looked like the main character of it. He kind of looked like a hitman. It was a very interesting outfit. And Ray, I was able to identify him because of I believe they spoke each other's names, but I also am not sure about that part. The way I identified him was that I recognized his car. I sort of recognized him, but he was wearing a half flag. But I definitely recognized his car, mainly the license plate, because I have dealt with him a couple times.
Oh, what
as
was
I've
that
been his
license plate?
defense attorney. As of right now, I do not remember. But
You
at
recognize
the time,
his plate, but you don't remember the plate.
I mean, at the time, I remembered it, but it has been quite a while since then now.
Okay. So then what happened? They pinned underneath of the truck. You guys weren't able to move anymore. They
So
had
then we hopped
guns.
out. Yeah. Lumi hopped out, then I hopped out, then Amy hopped out. They took me and Lumi's phone and radio. I assume they did the same to Amy, but I'm not sure. I know she woke up without them in the hospital. They did that, and then the first car pulled off. I heard as they were pulling off something about we're heading to the compound. It sounded like, or we're heading to block, one of the two. I'm pretty sure it was compound. Which is why I had said it to you when you got on scene.
And which vehicle was that?
That was the first one, which was I believe, the chrome one. Not the one that had pinned us, the other one that was following.
That would be Mr. Ray Michaels' car that had pinned you?
Ray Michael pinned, yep, and Kane was the one that pulled away first with Amy.
Okay. So which vehicle was Amy in?
Kane Doolittle's car.
Kane Doolittle's, which would be the chromish beige colored car.
Yeah.
How did that whole thing go down? You all hopped out of the car. They hold you at gunpoint when they took your phones and radios.
Yeah. And Amy didn't have her gun on her, and I don't believe Lumi did either. And I was the only one with a gun, and I wasn't going to
Did they take your
threaten
firearm
anyone's
as
life.
well?
They did not take my firearm, just the
And they took
phone
your
and
phones
the
and
radio.
radios. You were held at gunpoint. They took all of your phones and radios. And then they what did they do after taking your phones and radios? I know you said the initial vehicle, the
Uh,
chrome one, left. Stated they were headed back to the compound or block. But how did Miss Amy get into that vehicle?
so she was on the right-hand side of the car as she was on the passenger side. I had got out on the left, so did Lumi. We were standing with Ray, or when we got out, Ray was the one pointing the gun at us. At least we believe it was Ray. Amy got out on the right-hand side. Kane had taken her objects, I assume, and then basically told her to get in the car, and then she got in the car, and then they pulled off. The whole time saying it has nothing to do with like me and Lumi.
Hold on. Okay, and then you could hear him saying it had nothing to do with you and Lumi.
Yeah, they kept. So me and Lumi asked, sort of why they were doing this, and they only responded with, "It has nothing to do with you." And then he drove off with Amy. Ray paused for a second, and then as he heard sirens, then he hopped in his car, and drove off as well.
Okay. See, there you recalled another thing. This could be another charge, robbery in the third degree, sir. Can't steal
Oh,
things off of people at gunpoint.
oh, true. Radios.
Alright, let me read this back to you, make sure that I haven't forgotten anything. Yourself, Amy, and Lulu all went to Pizza This. You were getting some food, refreshments. As you were leaving, Mr. Doolittle and an unidentified female approached Amy, asking if she was Mira. Amy denied the allegation. The unidentified female was like, "Yeah, that's Amy." Kane then asked if he could talk with Amy to the side. They spoke for a little bit, then began talking on the phone, and you guys left, headed towards the prison. On your left, Lumi was the driver, Amy was the front passenger, you were in the back seat. While you were on the way, you guys decided to make a U-turn and head back towards the office because you had forgotten somebody, and that's when one of the vehicles I have here the beige or chrome vehicle pinned itself underneath of your vehicle. Is that correct, or was it Mr. Michaels's?
I believe it was Michael's car, but I think Ray's car was beige, I believe, and then the other one was chrome. The other one I hadn't really looked at much. I'm sort of saying it's chrome based on what I was told by Lumi and them. It looked kind of silver to me, but they're saying chrome, so we're going with chrome. I was more focused on the car that was pinning us.
Okay.
As
So
that was a
Ray's
bit more
beige car pinned itself underneath of your vehicle.
Mhm.
Okay. You noticed just before the U-turn that the vehicle had been approaching or following. You also recalled that you were on the phone with Under Sheriff Jensen at the time of the incident where you expressed or explained the situation. That's why officers were dispatched to the location. You also expressed that there were people that were wearing red and had guns. One having a machine pistol, which you identified as Kane, and the other one having some sort of normal pistol, which you identified as Ray. You recognize Kane because he identified himself or responded to his name when you were at Pizza This. Kane affirmed his name. You also recalled that it's possible they spoke each other's names in your presence, but you did recognize Mr. Michaels' vehicle, you described as the beige vehicle. You all hopped out of the car, held at gunpoint, where Ray took your phone and your radio along with Lumi's. And Amy was taken at gunpoint by Kane and forced into his vehicle. The chrome-colored vehicle. That's the initial vehicle. It pulled off, headed towards a compound, you believe, and you recalled them stating multiple times that it had nothing to do with yourself or Lumi. Did they indicate that it had anything to do with Miss Stone?
They sort of didn't respond to Amy asking them anything. Actually, no, they did respond once. They said that she knows why it's happening. That is the only time they responded to her. The other times they just kind of ignored her.
Okay, after Mr. Doolittle left the scene with Miss Stone in the car, Mr. Michael stayed on scene, hesitated, and then fled when he heard the sirens. Have I forgotten anything? Is there any other details you think should be included in this statement? I do like to be thorough.